Friends, welcome back to Chef Walter's Flavors and Knowledge podcast. Today's episode is about Conrad Ferla's Shore Dinner Hall in Rocky Point, Warwick. We'll call it the man who fed a million summers. I am your host, Ethan Clark, so let's get started. You can still hear it if you close your eyes and listen carefully. The distant shrieks of laughter from the Comet roller coaster, the tinny calliope music of the carousel, the crash of Atlantic waves on the Rhode Island shore. And beneath it all, a more primal, delicious sound, the clatter of 1,000 plates and the happy, hungry murmur of a crowd. This was the sound of Rocky Point Park in its glory, and at the heart of it, literally and spiritually, was a man named Conrad Ferla and his magnificent Shore Dinner Hall. His story is not just one of business, but of an immigrant's dream woven into the fabric of a New England summer. Conrad Ferla arrived from Italy as a young man, his pockets empty but his spirit brimming with that particular blend of ambition and humility that defined a generation. He found his way to Warwick, the sprawling, salt-kissed amusement park already a local legend. He started as so many did, humble, hustling. He was a cook, a dishwasher, a man who understood that before the thrill of the ride, the meal was necessary. But Conrad saw a deeper hunger. He saw families who had saved their pennies for a day of freedom by the sea, arriving with sun-hot skin and empty stomachs. He watched them unpack modest lunches or scramble for a bite between rides. And he dreamed of a feast, not just any meal, but a celebration, a ritual that would become as much a part of the Rocky Point experience as the Skyliner or the haunted house. And so he built his temple, the Shore Dinner Hall. Call it a restaurant feels insufficient. The Shore Dinner Hall was a vast, sprawling pavilion, all weathered wood and sea-breezed screens, capable of seating over 1,000 people at a time. It was a place of communal joy, where the air was so thick with the scent of fried clams, chowder and lobster that you could taste your meal before you ever sat down. The menu was a sacrament, a fixed-price shore dinner that was legendary. For one price, you received a feast fit for a king of the boardwalk. A bowl of creamy, briny Rhode Island clear broth clam chowder. A golden mountain of clam cakes, crispy on the outside, tender inside, and studded with sweet clam bits. A succulent boiled lobster, served with a side of melted butter and a tiny wooden pick. Corn on the cob, steamed to perfection. A soft, warm roll. It was simple, timeless, and utterly perfect. But Conrad's genius wasn't just in the food, but in the theater of it all. The hall was a symphony of controlled chaos. You'd line up, receive a ticket, and find a spot at a long, picnic-style table next to strangers who felt like old friends by the end of the meal. The swift and smiling waitresses would call out orders in a melodic shorthand. The clatter of trays, the crack of a lobster shell, the collective MMM from a family tasting their first clam cake. This was the music Conrad conducted. He was a constant presence, a stout, proud figure moving through the hall, greeting regulars by name, ensuring the chowder was just right. He wasn't just the owner and host of the most fantastic summer party Rhode Island had ever known. For generations, a trip to Rocky Point was incomplete without a pilgrimage to Conrad's Hall. It was where a first date might share a lobster, a grandfather would teach his grandson how to extract every morsel from a claw properly, and where a shared meal's simple, profound joy cemented a family's memory. All summers must end, and so too did Rocky Point's golden age. Changing tastes, financial struggles, and the rise of other entertainment saw the park decline. It closed its gates for good in 1995. The rides were silenced, and the buildings left to the mercy of the salt wind and time. The Shore Dinner Hall, Conrad's life's work, stood as a ghostly skeleton for years. The cry of gulls replaced the laughter, the scent of fried dough by the damp smell of decay. It was a heartbreaking sight for anyone who remembered its glory. Conrad Ferla passed away in 1999, mercifully spared the full sight of his beloved hall's slow collapse. But here is where the story finds its emotional core, proof that some places are built not just of wood and nail, but of memory and soul. In 2014, the final remnants of the hall were demolished. Yet, in a poignant and powerful act of remembrance, the massive central stone fireplace, the very hearth of the hall, was left standing. It stands today in Rocky Point State Park, a solitary monument against the sky. It is a ruin in the most beautiful sense. If you visit it now, you can walk through the footprint of the hall, your feet tracing where 1,000 tables once stood. You can place your hand on the cold stones of that fireplace and feel the echo of 1,000,000 warm summers. It is a silent, steadfast tribute to Conrad Ferla's dream. The man is gone, the hall is gone, but the memory of that feast and shared joy is indestructible. Conrad Ferla didn't just sell shore dinners, he served up happiness on a paper plate, and in doing so, he cooked his way into the heart of Rhode Island forever. The fireplace stands as a promise that while amusement parks can close, the warmth we create within them never truly fades away. This is all for this exciting episode. Check back with us on the next round, and when you are in the kitchen, keep your eyes on the fire. Thanks for listening.